just talk a little bit more generally, I think, Rob, right, about this whole topic and why it's come to be. In my view, I think people see an expectation that updates are quick and easy, and the hard work's done for them, right? And I think Microsoft has done a great job over the last decade, even maybe more, of the Microsoft Update service. It's taken the kind of lottery out of whether an update will work. I think more and more, as people use different platforms outside Windows, Linux and Unix and Mac, again, that's heightened the expectation, right, of this being just part and parcel of day-to-day IT, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there's also an element of users don't like to apply updates. Why? Typically because they fail, right? Or
Mm.
part of that update process isn't complete or it leaves remnants on the user's machine. Then that triggers a call to support, right? And then that is a decrease in satisfaction or at least a perception. So it's really a challenge to not only know when to create an update, maybe a major minor upgrade, but how to actually deliver that, how to make your user base understand the importance of that update.
Yeah, and I think it's understanding that fear. These are real deals, right, for people, because the common question you'll get from people is, will my computer work? How long will it take? Do I need to back up my content? And I think that's because most users aren't technical, evangelists of IT, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's the job of those who are responsible for designing, dare I say it, the design word, and developing and testing. Right, someone will come into later. So yeah, I think as an IT advocate of making sure people's software is updated in a seamless fashion, we must take control of that. That we must protect the end user. And all of the questions around why are we doing the update, why are we doing the update now, what will happen, and as a if you're a software vendor or if you're an enterprise business or frankly if you're just a big company that has software as part of their offering, they will worry about do we have the skills to create these updates? What happens if it goes wrong? Right? Will it cause a problem to finance? Will I get in trouble? Okay, will people stop using the software, and especially in a SaaS world? Yes, there's a lot of software going to SaaS, but often it connects to something physical like a server. People worry about will there be a good continuity of service, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially if that update doesn't take, right? Is there a
Right.
rollback functionality so that while the update didn't happen, the user can at least still use the version that was working on their machine? That can be a major concern for some individuals. I think there's also the element of call it entitlement management. Should I
Mhm.
be delivering this update to everybody? Is this a paid update or is this just a call it a service pack, right? Or an R1, R2 type of release. That's a topic that a lot of independent software vendors are now starting to kind of dip their toes in and try to understand that as especially as a value add to a subscription world. Users are expecting timely, prompt, seamless updates.
Yeah, and we see a lot of software companies, and again, actually, we shouldn't really use the word software company because they could be a company that makes something physical but just has software as part of their business, right? Um, they are increasingly being more selective about who gets these updates, and they're using that as a differentiator to pull people up to a newer version, a higher version, right? Perhaps a more expensive version, right? But
Mhm.
that's usually on the back of more functionality. People don't buy software for the sake of having software. They buy software to solve a problem or a number of problems. And the update, the ability of that update to make that software fit for purpose is critical. And, fundamentally, if you don't have a good outcome, then the best case is you might have a set of users who aren't particularly happy, right? And they'll inundate the support team, and that's got a cost. That's the best case, right? The worst case is you're going to start damaging your corporate brand. And as we all know, yeah, that takes a lot of time and money to repair. So I think a lot of considerations in that area.
And I think we'll delve into it in a further slide, but I think there's also that question of how do I know who my users are? How do I know who to notify of getting an update? I might have a portfolio of products, and
Mm.
do I send that update to the entire installed base? Some don't need to apply it, some do. Some won't. So that would be the worst user experience is I receive a message that I have an update and I go through that process of an update only to find out it actually isn't for me or any product that I have, yet I've just spent all this time trying to update my system. Um, I think that's where, ISVs need to figure out how do they target the updates so that you're not sending an update to someone that doesn't even have the product or the right version of it.